What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and we're going to have to go and revisit our little kind of sordid affair that is the Nintendo Switch, its internal storage and the issues that lie therein. So what am I talking about this time? Well, first off, if you're not familiar, the Nintendo Switch, which launched on March 3rd, 2017, has 32 gigabytes of internal storage. Now it can be upgraded using a microSD card for an additional cost, but we'll get to that in a moment. So it does come with 32 gigabytes of internal storage, roughly 25 of which are accessible, for the simple reason that is, as formatting goes and as the operating system takes up space as well, you're going to lose a little bit of space on there. So even though it's technically ships with 32 gigabytes, you can only use about 25 gigs of it. Now this presents a problem for multiple reasons. One, it's the exact same amount as the premium model Wii U, which launched 5 years prior. And again, 5 years prior, at the end of 2012, when the premium Wii U launched, it still wasn't enough. And we've seen that take multiple ways, shapes and forms in the Switch era since post-launch of 2017, well, March 3rd, 2017. And it's came in several different forms, forcing you to either buy a physical version of a game, or in some cases that you can only play a specific game if you fork out and specifically pay extra for a microSD card. So what am I talking about anyway? Well, WWE 2K18 now joins that list of games that requires a microSD card. Nintendo have updated their website, the official Nintendo.com website, and they've updated the WWE 2K18 page with more information on the game. And they added an extra little paragraph here. So it says, attention, a micro SD card sold separately with free storage space of minimum 32 gigabytes is required to download this game, plus 1 gigabyte on the system memory. You must have your micro SD card inserted before beginning the download. So what does this mean for Switch users and people who want to play WWE 2K18 on the Switch? Well, now you are going to have to buy a microSD card. So if you don't have a microSD card already, which was already an additional cost, you're now going to have to fork out extra just to be able to play this game on your Nintendo Switch. So WWE 2K18 is now the 4th game on the list, which highlights the memory issues and limitations of the Nintendo Switch and its paltry 32 gigabytes of internal storage. The other games, of course, being Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 bundle, which is 32 gigabytes, launched on the same day as the Nintendo Switch and does not fit on the internal storage, requires a micro SD card sold separately, or you can buy a physical version of the game. However, that's not the case for all of these games. You can look at the other offering from 2K as well, NBA 2K18, which also requires a microSD card even if you buy a physical version of the game, because it's a 23 gigabyte game install and 5 gigabytes of storage for your actual save, which adds up to a total of 28 gigabyte more than is available on the Nintendo Switch. And of course, Resident Evil Revelations 2, a game which is 26 gigabytes and is only available in digital form. Even if you buy the quote physical unquote Resident Evil Revelations Duology Collection, or whatever you want to call it, it only comes with 1 game card with a physical version of the first game and a digital code for the second game, which is 26 gigabytes, too much for the internal storage of the Nintendo Switch to handle. And now WWE 2K18 is also added to that list. There are 1 or 2 other games that are generally worth mentioning in the same form because they do suffer from issues with the Nintendo Switch regarding either their internal storage or their actual general Switch media. In this case, the actual Nintendo game cards. Doom, for example, uses a 16 gigabyte, the upcoming Doom 2016 one, uses a 16 gigabyte game card, and it has a 9 gigabyte separate download for the multiplayer. The reason for that is because it's a proprietary system with the actual game cards themselves. Not only do probably Nintendo have a higher licensing fee, and because it's Nintendo, probably kind of ridiculous licensing fee, but game cards are manufactured in considerably smaller quantities than, say, the likes of Blu-rays. So they cost more to manufacture, and of course all that extra cost and extra investment is passed along to the publisher, because Nintendo, which some of them have opted to, some of the publishers and developers have opted to pass the extra additional cost onto the consumer, since some games are more expensive on Nintendo Switch. And of course, using a 32GB Nintendo game card would cost even more money and be even more expensive to pass along to the consumer. And that's basically where this issue stems from, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse as time goes by. For the simple reason is, a lot of people have always said that it's okay that Nintendo can sell you a system that has games available that cannot physically be played in any way, shape, or form without an additional storage purchase. In this case, so far, we've got WWE 2K18, NBA 2K18, and Resident Evil Revelations 2. 3 games that even bought physically, well, 2 of them are available physically, still require an external microSD card of extra investment. And personally, I think this is ludicrous that people can defend this practice, because let me give you another perfect example. If you pick up a 128GB microSD card, relatively cheap, maybe €25, €30 or so, give or take, maybe even a bit cheaper depending on your region and your currency, of course, but let's say you've downloaded the 4 games which have storage issues. So if you have a 128GB card, you're going to get a little bit less than that. You're probably going to get about 113, maybe 115 gigabytes because of formatting and whatnot. So let's take a quick look at it. Dragon Quest bundle, 32 gigabytes. Resident Evil Revelations 2, 26 gigabytes. That brings us up to 59 gigabytes. NBA 2K18, 23 gigabytes, plus an extra 5 for the actual storage space. But we won't, or the actual save space, but we're not going to include the extra 5. So we're already up to 82 gigabytes. And of course, the WWE 2K18 storage is not 100% confirmed, but at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say it's going to be in the mid to low 20 gigabytes. So we're already pushing roughly 100 gigabytes. That is your microSD card almost completely full as it is already, from 4 games potentially. And that doesn't even include other games that you may have bought digitally, be it not virtual console games, but be it the arcade and eShop games, or be it actual retail games from other manufacturers, publishers, and developers. And just remember, as time goes on, these games, not just the games we have now, but games as they release, are going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. And you either have to deal with the Switch tax, buying multiple microSD cards, or just skipping the game on Nintendo Switch and getting on a different platform. Which, to be honest, would be preferable to the first 2 options, which are more added expense that shouldn't be an issue. But hey, let's face it, Nintendo decided to launch with 32 gigabytes, which wasn't enough 5 years ago. In 2017 now they're launching with that, and it's still less storage space than I had in my computer in 2001. When I had an 80 gigabyte hard drive, and that wasn't even enough then, and sometimes games were barely breaking the 1 gigabyte size limit, or capacity requirement I should say. Most games were still in the megabytes at that point. But hey, Nintendo gonna Nintendo, so it is what it is. Let me know in the comment section below what your whole thoughts and ideas and opinions on this whole situation is. Let me know if you're looking forward to buying multiple microSD cards over the next few years, possibly losing them because, well, multiple microSD cards, as well as the extra cost for multiple microSD cards because of Nintendo's insistence on launching with 32 gigabytes of internal storage in 2017, and their choice to pass the extra additional cost onto the consumers. Let me know your opinion on it, if you think it's acceptable, if you think I'm making a complete mountain out of a molehill that some people consider a non-issue, whatever it is. Let me know all of that in the comments section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.